Hi there, got a quick question for you. Do you love RimWorld, but you wish it were a little more colonial, Victorian, even Napoleonic? Well, boy, do I have the mod for you. Ah, yes, now that is more like it. This is much better, much more Napoleonic, I would say. Now we can have our soldiers fight in line formations just like ye olden times. The Napoleonic Rim mod has quite a bit to offer, so we are going to be diving into all of it today, starting out with the factions. As it currently stands, there are only 3 factions in this mod, being France, Britain, and Prussia. Ye old global powerhouse of the time, of course. Before you start your colony, you'll be able to see them spread out all across your planet if you give them a high enough population, which is kind of, well, I guess it's kind of accurate, huh? Now, each of these 3 factions actually come equipped with their own unique weapons, armor, and different apparels going across several different soldier classes, such as cavalry, infantry, commanders, and a few others. But first, I want to focus on their many different weapons that they have. To begin, we have 8 individual firearms here, most of which are muskets, but at the end we actually have an officer's flintlock pistol as well. To my understanding, all of these weapons can be created at a fueled smithy, and they are actually very inexpensive to make, with most of them only requiring a few scraps of wood, a component, and a little bit of steel. Meaning that of course you could easily make any of these weapons day one, assuming you have the required research. The most powerful rifle of them all, though, is by far the British Baker rifle. Coming in at a whopping 24 damage per shot, it is by far the most powerful rifle added by Napoleonic Rim, and it packs one hell of a punch. It is also the most accurate rifle across the board with the highest range, comparable to the standard sniper rifle in vanilla RimWorld. Except, the Baker rifle is more accurate at close and short range. All other stats, though, are about identical. The other 3 main muskets of each faction are identical in terms of their stats, with their damage output, range, and yada yada, of course, with some fairly high damage output and their accuracy being best at short to medium range. And of course, with them being muskets, they take quite a while before they can be fired again, which is a sentiment shared across all of these weapons. The light Charvel musket, along with the officer's pistol, also have a few differences in their stats, but for the most part, it's about the same, with the differences only really being in the accuracy. Now, you may see this and hear this and think, well, there is a lack of diversity among these weapons, Rat Knight, and I do somewhat agree, but I would actually argue that this makes the weapons much more fair and balanced among all the factions. Essentially meaning battles will be decided more about the environment that they're fought in, as well as a soldier's skill set, than the weapon's advantage. But now let us move on to the melee weapons. Napoleonic Rim adds a multitude of different types of swords. Now, I'm not going to go into each individual sword, as the damage can vary, but just know the majority of them have a DPS of about between 6.6 and 8.6. All of them except for the officer sword type, which comes in at a whopping 13.58 damage per second. Now, it's important to keep in mind these stats will also vary depending on the material and the quality of the weapon, of course. Which brings me to my next point. All of the swords, just as their firearm counterparts, are very inexpensive in terms of resources. Meaning, once again, of course, you could very easily create several of these swords on your very first day, assuming you have the proper research. And as we saw earlier, there are several unique factions with their own unique uniforms and armor. It is worth noting that many of these outfits provide very little actual armor in terms of, well, you know, if you're getting shot at or stabbed. But some are much better than others, of course. But of course, they look very beautiful, and they also require very little resources. Now, I know I keep bringing that up. The reason being because there are similar mods where the armors, weapons, and other items are treated more like a novelty, where they require several different materials and much more work and planning to obtain them. Not with Napoleonic Rim, though. You can easily immerse yourself in a colonial setting without the hassle of spending 4 components on a musket or 200 steel on a simple sword. Now that we've talked about all the things that the mod does have, let's talk about something that it currently does not have. You may notice on the workshop page there is a section for cavalry. Currently, this only means cavalry attire and armor. So if you're raided by one one of these factions, you'll notice a severe lack of folks riding any horses. However, according to the workshop page as well as the main mod creator, this is something coming in a near update. It would also appear that in addition to that, they plan on adding new cannon textures, many other coalition members like Austria, Russia, their corresponding uniforms of course, and implementing a pistol with the sapper axe. Now the prospects of all these new updates, such as the new factions as well as enemies riding horseback and whatnot, is very exciting, though I must say I don't think the textures for the cannons are coming anytime soon, or the cannons themselves, because it does appear that they were removed when the mod was updated for 1.4 due to some internal issues. Which, truth be told, isn't really a big issue because there are plenty of other mods on the workshop that actually add beautiful cannons that go perfectly with Napoleonic Rim. However, I do think the mod will be a lot better once it kinda has a more all-in-one feeling, once it has its own mounted cavalry units, cannons, and basically anything and everything in between in one singular mod. Which kind of brings me to my conclusion. This mod is very fun and you will very much enjoy it. Say you're getting into RimWorld and you want to try out some new mods, maybe you like something in a Napoleonic style, this is the perfect mod for you, but it is not a massive mod. And what I mean by that, essentially just like many other mods, it is fun on its own, but when it is paired with other such mods that really complement it, it is literally perfect. Some mods that I would personally recommend that go really well together with Napoleonic Rim: first we have SteamWorld Defenses. This is going to add several different types of rifles, melee weapons like swords, and of course some cannons. Next up we have the Redcoats exclamation point mod, which adds a lot of different apparel from the time period specifically for Redcoats, such as the tricorn hat, which is a personal favorite of mine. Last but not least, on the recommendations for mods, I have Aaron's Cottage Collection. Now the reason that I would recommend this one is because none of the ones that we've discussed thus far, and very few of them honestly on the workshop, actually provide the furniture and the flooring and things like that that you would expect with the time period. So I personally would recommend it for any aesthetic purposes, as well as the other mods that I have mentioned, and I'm sure that there are plenty more out there that you guys might be able to find that you would like to add on with Napoleonic Rim and play them together. So all in all, Napoleonic Rim is truthfully a really good mod. It's actually one of my favorite mods, mostly just because I really enjoy playing during this time period of Napoleonic times, and you know, I mean that's basically my main reason. It looks really good and it plays really well as well. Now I did speak with the main mod creator ahead of time before making the video just to ask him if there was anything in particular he would like for me to mention during the video or bring up about updates or anything like that, and he really didn't have anything specific that he'd like for me to talk about or mention, but he did say to let everyone to know, you know, if you'd like to and if you can, you feel free to donate to him. There's obviously a link to the mod in the video description. You can actually go there and donate on the Steam workshop page. And he had also wanted me to mention that if there are any artists out there that would like to lend their talents to him for the mods, that you can contact him as well if you'd like to do so. You know, personally speaking with other creators and whatnot, I have noticed, and it was something I didn't really know about before, but it takes a lot of time, which I kind of assume, but also a good bit of money to actually get the textures and everything for mods, and it's more than you would normally think, or at least it was for me. But my friends, I do hope you have enjoyed today's video, and I hope you have enjoyed this mod review. If you guys would like to see any other mod reviews, be sure to let me know in the comment section. Be sure to like the video so that I know that you enjoy it, and if you have any suggestions for mods that you might like to see reviewed, be sure to let me know as well. I love you guys. I'll see you later. Goodbye.